They walked onto the stage draped in glittering gowns, lips painted the color of fire, their voices pouring straight from the deepest part of their souls. But behind all that beauty, there was pain the audience never saw. One singer was humiliated in public by the person she loved, simply because she admitted she had desires that felt too masculine. Another was found quietly sobbing in her dressing room, ashamed because the night before, she fell into the arms of someone she didn't love, just to fill the emptiness eating her alive. They weren't evil. They weren't wild. They were simply honest. And that honesty pushed them into the shadows of music history. What you're about to hear isn't just a story about sex. It's a war between instinct and judgment, between love and loneliness. So stay until the end and ask yourself this: is having a powerful desire truly a sin, or just part of being human? Tina Turner, the woman whose fire could make even the bravest men run. On stage, the world crowned her the Thunder Goddess. But behind closed doors she was just as fierce, just as untamable. Those legs that moved like weapons, that wild mane of hair that looked like it had been struck by lightning. Tina didn't just perform. She erupted. She lived with a raw, fearless instinct that made her unforgettable, and, to some men, absolutely terrifying. Fame found Tina early, but the spotlight only amplified the whispers. People claimed she was too hot to handle, not because she played games, but because no man could keep up with the heat of her passion. A tour manager once recalled that after a Las Vegas show in 1978, Tina vanished with a young dancer she'd met backstage. They were gone for 2 days. When he finally returned, shaken and speechless, he uttered only one line: "I love her, but I'm not strong enough to be loved by her." In the 1980s, rumors spread about a short-lived romance with a famous white movie star. They hid away in a rented New York apartment for 3 intense weeks, until he fled in the middle of the night. He left behind a single handwritten note: "You're beautiful, but you burn everything you touch." Television producers once warned Tina that she was too sexy for family audiences. One show even cut her performance over a shimmering dress slit high above her thigh. But Tina never bowed. She later said, "I am Tina Turner. I won't apologize for being a woman. And women have the right to be loved with their whole bodies." Years later, living quietly by the lake in Switzerland, Tina whispered to a journalist, almost like a confession, "I don't regret making some people run. Loving a fire is a choice too." Tina Turner didn't just set stages ablaze. She forced the world to recognize a truth many fear to say out loud. Some women are born to love fiercely, boldly, completely. Not afraid of being misunderstood. Not afraid of being alone. Only afraid of living anything less than fully, honestly, and on fire. Aretha Franklin, the queen nobody dared to challenge. She stood beneath the crownless halo of soul music, untouchable, unstoppable, and wrapped in a power that felt almost holy. Her voice was a prayer, her presence a command. But behind the stage lights and church-like reverence were stories people whispered about, but never truly told. In public, she was grace, elegance, dignity itself. But those closest to her hinted at a private world ruled by instinct, fire, and a hunger for love that could not be tamed. Even as a teenager, Aretha carried a woman's weight on her shoulders. At just 14, she became a mother, and from then on, a series of secret affairs followed her like shadows, never confirmed, never denied. In the music world, people murmured, "If you play well, Aretha wants you, no questions asked." One anonymous musician confessed that recording with her in her small home studio both terrified and intoxicated him. They only worked at night, and more than once, their sessions drifted from melodies to the bedroom. "I was her lover, her writer, her servant," he said. "And I have never seen anyone love with that level of intensity." Aretha never publicly discussed her desires, but insiders remembered moments that spoke louder than words. Once, just 15 minutes before a major awards performance, she vanished backstage. When she returned, her lipstick was smudged, her breath unsteady, and her eyes gleamed with a secret satisfaction. No one dared to ask why. But a cameraman later swore the curtain behind her dressing room had been pulled crooked, and a silk handkerchief, still damp with perfume, lay crumpled on the floor. Producers often called her difficult, but only because she refused to fit into anyone's idea of a perfect diva. Once, she demanded to sing Dr. Feelgood in a slower, more sensual style. "It has to feel sexy," she said. "Sexy like a good night of lovemaking." Even in her final years, weakened and exhausted, Aretha never stopped singing. A close friend said, she wasn't afraid of dying. She was afraid of being remembered wrong, as some stiff, proper lady who never felt anything. Aretha Franklin was not just the queen of soul. She was a woman who fought for her right to feel, to crave, to express, and to be unapologetically alive in a world that expected women, especially black women, to stay quiet. A queen in public, a storm in private, and a legend forever. Donna Summer wasn't just the queen of disco, she was the woman who taught the world how to feel. She didn't simply sing about love, she breathed it, whispered it, moaned it, and carried desire in every heartbeat of her music. When "Love to Love You Baby" dropped, America practically froze. 17 minutes of gasps, sighs, and breathy moans, so intimate it felt like a confession. It wasn't a song. It was a revolution wrapped in velvet heat. Donna later revealed that the studio had gone completely dark during recording, just a single red bulb glowing while the music slid through the room like a hand down her spine. Producer Giorgio Moroder recalled, "I told Donna to imagine she was in love with a man the world would never allow her to have. She started moaning, and the rest was history." From that moment, people didn't know whether to worship her or ban her. Some states tried. They called her a pornographer. They said she crossed a line. But Donna? She didn't flinch. She stepped deeper into her sensuality, singing in a voice that felt like two lovers sharing secrets under the sheets. Once, during a tour in Italy, she vanished for an entire night with a young fashion designer. At sunrise, she walked into the lobby wearing nothing but a man's shirt, lipstick smudged, eyes glowing like a woman who had just dreamed something she could never fully confess. A co-star asked how her night went. Donna smiled and whispered, "Last night I found a new melody." Rumors spread about her bond with a female photographer, two women who traveled side by side, whispered during shoots, and occasionally disappeared where cameras couldn't follow. When the press pushed, Donna simply said, "We shared inspiration." And sometimes inspiration comes from places you can't admit out loud. Before she passed, Donna wrote in her diary, "If I lived again, I would love exactly the same. Because women can desire. Women can moan. Women can take ownership of pleasure without apology." Donna Summer was never just a disco icon. She was a symbol of unapologetic female desire, of passion lived loudly and honestly. And her moans, immortalized through a microphone, will echo forever. Whitney Houston, the angel of forbidden longing. Whitney wasn't just the voice of a generation. She was America's golden daughter, the woman whose smile could light up a stadium and whose voice felt like a prayer. But behind that polished image lived a storm, a heart full of quiet sobs, unspoken desires, and a love that refused to fit inside anyone's rules. Those who truly knew Whitney understood one thing: she didn't love by gender. She loved by soul. Her bond with Robin Crawford went deeper than friendship. In the 80s, the two shared a private apartment in Atlanta, a sanctuary filled with jazz, wine, and nights when whispered confessions drowned out every melody. In her memoir, Robin revealed that Whitney once leaned close and said, "I can love men, but only with you do I feel safe." A veteran Arista sound engineer recalled the night Whitney recorded "Saving All My Love for You." She walked into the studio with red, sleepless eyes. When she sang, "For tonight is the night that I'm feeling all right," she closed her eyes and leaned into the microphone as if stepping back into a memory she could never say out loud. "That wasn't a performance," he said. "That was a confession." Whitney also had a secret relationship with a male dancer nearly 15 years younger. They were once spotted in a quiet corner of the Ritz-Carlton lobby, holding each other like two kids afraid of getting caught. A staff member remembered the moment clearly. His eyes looked like he'd just run through a storm. She was glowing, but exhausted, like loving someone cost her a little piece of herself every time. But Hollywood doesn't tolerate unconventional desires. Rumors about her relationships with both men and women led to whispers that she was uncontrollable. She was once forced to cut a sensual scene from a music video because it felt too real. She didn't argue. She only smiled and said, "They want me to be pure. But if I'm an angel, why do I crave touch?" In her diary, shortly before her death, Whitney wrote that she felt trapped between two worlds, one of innocence, one of desire. She never apologized for loving deeply. She only suffered for it. Whitney Houston didn't just leave behind an immortal voice. She left behind the portrait of a woman both delicate and untamed, someone who loved beyond gender, beyond rules, beyond what the world was ready to accept. And because of that, she remains unforgettable, a miracle, a mystery, and a heartbreak the world will never stop longing for. Chaka Khan, the woman who didn't just sing about love, but made love with music. Chaka never had to chase sex appeal. She was born with a fire that Hollywood couldn't tame. Her voice, her eyes, even the way she moved carried a voltage that stirred the flesh, not in a cheap way, but in a way that felt spiritual, explosive, alive. She once said, "Sex isn't just pleasure. It's what makes me sing." That line outraged conservatives but earned her the respect of every true artist. In the studio, she was known to demand complete darkness, only a faint pink glow allowed. "I need to feel like I'm in another body," she'd whisper before recording. In 1981, an Italian guitarist touring with her recalled a night in Rome when Chaka invited him back to her hotel. She didn't flirt, didn't speak, she simply turned on the music and lay in bed. Their conversation didn't begin until sunrise. He later admitted, "She didn't seduce with words. She seduced with her tone. I never knew making love could feel like singing a ballad." Those wild, unspoken nights fueled her passion when she rewrote Through the Fire. One producer remembered her standing in the corner of the studio after recording the demo, hands trembling, lips barely moving as she murmured, "This song is for the person I can't have." Despite being hailed as a soul icon, television networks often rejected her, calling her too raw, too expressive, too unrestrained. Chaka refused to change. "They wanted me to be a lady," she once said. "I was born to be a monster." In her later years, Chaka looked back on her youth with no regret. "I hurt a few people because I lived too honestly," she confessed. "But if I had to choose again, I'd still love, sing, and burn through naked nights." Chaka Khan was never an easy woman to love, but she turned love into a symphony. And anyone who ever heard her sing has felt, even for a moment, the deepest, most secret corner of their own soul. Millie Jackson, the woman who says out loud what everyone else only whispers. She doesn't sing like an artist. She testifies like a woman who has survived a lifetime of love, lust, betrayal, and nights she'll never apologize for. Her music isn't just lyrics. It's sweat. It's breath. It's instinct. It's the sound of a woman refusing to shrink herself for anyone. In the early 70s, Millie dropped If You're Not Back in Love by Monday, and right in the middle of the track, she unleashed a scorching rant at a cheating man, like she was cussing out an ex on a late-night phone call. Radio stations cut the monologue, but fans didn't care. They were obsessed. "She's speaking for us," women said. And when Millie moaned, she didn't pretend. She sounded like she meant every second of it. A male dancer who toured with her once said she invited him to her hotel room just to talk. But when the door shut, she locked it, pulled a microphone from her purse, and told him, "You've got 5 minutes to make me feel something. If you don't, I'll put this in a song, and I'll make it funny." He laughed. By sunrise, he wasn't laughing anymore. Millie had stripped him of every ounce of his confidence. She even dated a white DJ during an era when R&B was still racially divided. They kept it secret, but in her song All the Way Lover, she delivered a seductive spoken monologue. Rumor had it she whispered that exact speech into his ear. The story was never confirmed, but the fire in her eyes when she performed it didn't need confirmation. Hollywood tried to push Millie to the sidelines because she didn't look like the polished divas they preferred. But Millie never bowed. "I didn't come here to be a doll," she said. "I came here to be a real woman." Later in life, someone asked if she regretted being so bold, so raw, so violent with her honesty. Millie just laughed. "I scared a lot of men," she said. "But no one ever forgot me." Millie Jackson was never meant for the masses. She was the voice of every woman who'd been told to stay quiet. Because of her, generations finally dared to moan, to speak, to demand, to love out loud. Patti LaBelle, the sweet woman who sizzles like sugar on a hot frying pan. With hair louder than silence, eyes that burn straight through you, and a voice powerful enough to wake a sleeping soul, Patti isn't just a legend. She's a force of nature wrapped in velvet and fire. She has the warmth of a mother, the grace of an angel, and the body of a woman who knows exactly what she wants and is never ashamed of it. She once said, "I love with my whole heart. And I've never been embarrassed that my body needs love just as much as my voice needs a song." And she meant it. Since her teenage years, Patti wasn't just admired, she was remembered. A Philadelphia neighbor recalled that at just 15, Patti could stop the neighborhood cold simply by sitting on her front steps in a knee-length dress, singing softly as the afternoon sun hit her legs. "It wasn't innocence," he said. "It was knowing you were sexy before the world had the courage to say it." By the 1970s, Patti wasn't only famous for her music, she became known for performances described as too hot for television. After one show in Atlanta, rumors spread like wildfire. A young male dancer from her tour was spotted leaving her hotel room at dawn, shirt half open, collar damp with sweat. Patti didn't make love quietly. She didn't whisper. She roared. And anyone who couldn't handle that kind of hurricane was better off far away. One former co-star claimed she recorded "If You Only Knew" after ending a secret affair with the only man who ever made her feel dominated, an affair that collapsed because he couldn't handle loving a woman who demanded both flesh and soul. A backstage manager once revealed that after a massive concert in Paris, Patti turned the entire backstage area into her own private sanctuary. She ordered 2 hours of complete privacy. A security guard standing at the door said, "No music. Just the sound of the bed creaking." And yet, even in her twilight years, Patti still glows with that natural, dangerous charm. In a recent interview, she confessed, "I don't regret any love I've ever had. I only regret hurting a few people because I wanted too much, on stage and in bed." Patti LaBelle has never been simple to define. But anyone who has heard her sing, or been loved by her, knows the truth. Some women are born to burn, and they will never apologize for how brightly they shine. If you're still listening now, you're listening with your heart, not just your ears. These women were called too hungry, too wild, too much. But ask yourself, if they were men, would anyone have said a word? Or is it only because they were women? Women who dared to want, to be touched, to be loved, that the world tried to shame them? Etta James, the voice that moaned like the first night. Etta wasn't just a rebel on stage. She lived, loved, and sang as if every day might be her last chance to feel anything at all. From the glassy stare and husky growl of "I'd rather go blind" to the way she locked eyes with men in the audience, everything about her carried the danger of a wild animal pacing inside a cage, always one breath away from snapping the chains. Raised without a father and with a mother lost to addiction, Etta learned desire long before she learned safety. A close friend once revealed that at 16, she ran away with a white musician nearly 20 years older. She left behind only a note: "I need to know if my body is lovable." Her hit "Tell Mama" was born, according to producer Rick Hall, right after she spent a night with a drummer so intense he had to cancel the next show. "She sang it like she was reliving every move she made," Rick said. "And trust me, she remembered every beat." Then there was Chicago. After one show, hotel staff found her in a bathtub with 2 men, a tour manager and a sound tech. A housekeeper later confessed, she was sitting between them, pouring wine, laughing, humming. "It was the strangest thing I ever saw, like watching a leopard resting after the hunt." People said she was too raw, too sexual, too reckless with her own image. But Etta didn't retreat. She pushed back with songs soaked in lust, hunger, and truth. In one rare confession, she said, "I loved like a madwoman. Slept with people whose names I forgot, but I know they remembered me. And when I sing, I moan for the things everyone else is scared to say out loud. Etta James is gone now, but her legacy is untouchable, fiery, wounded, feminine, and unforgettable. A soul both shining and scarred. And that's exactly what made her immortal. LaVern Baker, the tiger wrapped in a ball gown. She never needed to strip to be sexy. All LaVern had to do was lift her chin, flash that slow, dangerous smile, and let the first note fall from her lips. In the 1950s and 60s, when black women were expected to be soft and obedient, LaVern was pure instinct in heels. Her colleagues swore she was a tiger in velvet, and no one, not on stage or in a bedroom, ever dared challenge her. As a teenager, she scared one boyfriend's parents so much they banned her from their house. "That girl looks too fierce," they whispered. Months later, their son was still climbing through her bedroom window. "That boy had no idea what he was walking into," she once said at a drunken party. "I didn't teach him to sing, I taught him to moan." When her career exploded with Jim Dandy, LaVern became a silent sex symbol. A saxophonist who toured with her confessed that whenever she hit the chorus, he had to turn away to hide the way she affected him. "She didn't sing into the microphone," he said. "She whispered straight into your skin." One night in St. Louis, a hotel clerk reported loud music and strange sounds from her room. As he walked closer, he heard her laughing, that deep, wicked laugh, and a man gasping, "I can't take it anymore." By morning the man stumbled out of the hotel moving like he'd run a marathon. Rumor had it LaVern carried on a secret affair with a married gospel singer, a man raised in the church, terrified of falling from grace. They would meet only when she passed through his city. No one ever confirmed it, but she recorded one heartbreakingly raw love ballad that left the producer silent. When he finally asked, "Who were you thinking about?" she answered quietly, "Someone God won't let me have." Near the end of her life, she whispered to a female reporter, "I never apologized for wanting too much. I only regret that no one ever loved me long enough to keep up." LaVern Baker was elegance wrapped around wildfire. She didn't seduce. She roared. And anyone who stepped close enough carried her burn for the rest of their life. Betty Davis was the kind of woman the music industry had never seen before, and still isn't ready for. She never asked permission to be seductive. She never dressed to make anyone comfortable. She didn't fear being called wild. From her bold eyes to her untamed curls to that raw, tearing voice, Betty made people wonder whether they should worship her or run. That fearless, unapologetic fire is exactly what turned her into a legend Hollywood didn't know how to handle. Raised in a strict, conservative home, Betty was labeled too grown before she even turned 15. At 14, she was expelled from school simply for writing a lyric that said, "I want to love you like a midsummer fever." Most girls would have hidden in shame. Betty took that song straight to a nightclub and performed it under flashing lights and reckless cheers. She tried modeling, but fashion felt like another cage. So she turned to songwriting, her true battlefield, and exploded into the scene with tracks like "If I'm in Luck, I Might Get Picked Up," opening boldly with, "I wear my pants too tight for you to look at me longer." One major label rejected her album for being too erotic for public release. Betty just laughed, pressed it independently, and watched it sell out in a week. A studio tech once recalled a late-night New York recording session. Betty suddenly demanded all the lights be turned off. She walked into the booth, took off her top, and whispered, "I need to get out of my skin and sing with my instincts." The take they recorded that night was untouched, raw, moaning, animal, and so intense the editor had to leave the room. The technician said, "That was the only time I've ever seen a woman truly make love to music." Her relationship with Miles Davis, the king of jazz, shook the music world. Not because of her fame, but because she was too powerful for a man used to controlling everything. When Miles once struck her, she didn't crumble. She rose, stared him dead in the eyes, and walked away. A year later, she wrote "They Say I'm Different," a knife in the throat of every traditional feminine expectation. Hollywood couldn't handle Betty. She wouldn't bow. She wouldn't censor herself. She wouldn't shrink. But nobody who crossed her path ever forgot her. One studio artist admitted, "It took me 3 days to wake up after the first time I slept with her. She didn't hug me. She didn't say, 'I love you.' She just looked at me and said, 'I don't need love. I need fire.'" In her final years, Betty retreated from the world. She rarely spoke of love or desire anymore. But in a private letter to a close friend, she wrote, "If I hurt anyone, it's only because I was trapped too long in dresses and teachings." Betty Davis wasn't made for every generation. She was made for the ones brave enough to live loudly, desire boldly, and say without fear, "My body doesn't need to be hidden. It deserves to be heard." Natalie Cole, the woman of midnight passions and unforgettable shadows. The daughter of the legendary Nat King Cole, Natalie was once the very picture of elegance for a new generation. She had a royal beauty, a velvet voice, and a presence so refined it felt untouchable. But behind the silk gowns and flawless lipstick lived a woman burning through life at the speed of desire. From her college years, Natalie loved fast and forgot slow. One former classmate swore she dated 3 men in a single week. Natalie simply called it her emotional rehearsal schedule. One of those men later produced her debut album and once admitted, she sang like she was making love with every word. A fellow artist revealed she carried a long, secret affair with a white drummer already engaged to another singer. Every night after the show, they slipped into a hotel room booked under fake names. She wrote him, "I've got love on my mind," though she never dared to write down his name. "I didn't love him," she once confessed. "I loved being with him. And I knew he loved me too." Even the people closest to her saw the dual life she lived. One dresser recalled that Natalie never wore underwear on stage because it made her feel less free. After the curtain fell, she often vanished into the night with a different man, sometimes a fan, sometimes a driver, always chasing a feeling that couldn't wait until morning. "There were nights I sat in a car for 3 hours waiting for her to finish her inspiration," said the man who stayed by her side for 7 years. The world judged her, called her reckless, promiscuous, wild, even lost to drugs. But Natalie never fought back. In one interview she simply said, "I loved some bad men and some worse. But I never regretted being alive." Near the end of her life, Natalie filled her final months writing her memories. In a letter to her son, she wrote, "If I lived again, I would love the same way. It was short, but it was real. And real love is never wrong." Natalie Cole will forever be remembered as an icon of grace. But anyone who truly knew her, or heard her sing after one too many glasses of wine, understood this truth. Behind that polished, noble woman was a soul that trembled, cried, and broke, simply because she loved far too much. Jean Knight, the woman of the night who never played by anyone's rules. She didn't need short skirts or cheap tricks to keep men awake. She carried herself like a commander, spoke with a voice sharp enough to cut glass, and had eyes that told you she knew exactly what you were hiding, and probably a little more. Mr. Big Stuff wasn't just a hit. It was a warning shot from a woman who had stepped on more hearts than she could count, and remembered even fewer names. Jean started singing in nightclubs before she was even old enough to order a drink. One manager said, "The lights were useless. She glowed on her own." In 1971, whispers spread about her secret affair with a Haitian record mogul. Whenever her shows brought her back to New Orleans, she'd slip into his third-floor apartment. Neighbors heard music, laughter, and on certain nights, unmistakable moans drifting through the thin walls. "I don't know what went on in there," one neighbor said, but she walked out the next morning like she'd been reborn. During one live recording, Jean suddenly swapped the lyrics for explicit, raunchy lines. The cameraman turned red. Jean didn't apologize. She only shrugged and said, "I sing for every woman locked in a kitchen, dreaming of freedom." But the most famous story came from a show in Jackson, Mississippi. After the performance, she invited a group of male dancers backstage. 2 hours later, they stumbled out with crooked shirts, messy hair, and dazed eyes, like they just crawled out of a dream they weren't ready to wake from. "She called me a toy," one whispered, "and I didn't even mind." Jean Knight was eventually banned from a major theater for being too sexual. When reporters asked how she felt about it, she simply smiled and said, "I don't need a theater. I just need a room, a light, and a man who isn't afraid of a real woman." Jean Knight is gone now, but she left behind the legacy of someone who never apologized for living exactly the way she wanted. As one admirer once said, she didn't have to moan. She just had to look. And that was enough. Sylvia Robinson, the hidden pleasure queen of hip-hop. Most people remember her as the mother of hip-hop, the powerhouse behind Sugar Hill Records, the woman who pushed rap into the mainstream. But long before she became the boss of an empire, Sylvia was a fearless soul singer, a woman unafraid to sing about desire at a time when others didn't even dare to whisper it. In 1973, she dropped Pillow Talk, a record that sent shockwaves through radio stations across America. The moans, the breathy whispers, the slow-burning delivery, Sylvia didn't fake a single sound. When asked where that passion came from, she answered with a mischievous smile, "I just recorded what I felt after an unforgettable night of love." One engineer who worked the session said the studio was unusually quiet that day. Then suddenly, Sylvia closed the curtains, dimmed the lights, and asked everyone to leave when the tape started rolling. "I couldn't tell if she was singing," he said, or making love to her own memories. Rumors soon exploded. People whispered about a married basketball star who visited Sylvia every time he flew into New York. Assistants claimed they saw her late at night, bronze silk dress, hair tousled, red lipstick smudged, locking the office door and murmuring, "You don't need to talk tonight. Just listen to me breathe." Hollywood never knew what to do with a woman like Sylvia. Too bold, too sensual, too unapologetically feminine. Some investors walked away because her image wasn't clean. But Sylvia didn't flinch. In one interview, she said proudly, "I'm a woman. I built an empire by following the rhythm of music and the rhythm of my own body." Near the end of her life, she kept a single photo by her bedside, her in the studio, recording Pillow Talk. "I gave hip-hop a voice," she once said. "But before that, I gave women a voice." Sylvia Robinson wasn't just a music pioneer, she was the first woman to turn pleasure into art. She never apologized for loving boldly, singing honestly, and living exactly the way her body told her to. Barbara Mason, the poet of the unhidden moan. Barbara never begged for attention. She didn't scream, pose, or chase the spotlight. She whispered. She sighed. She drew listeners into a world of raw desire that no woman had dared to reveal since the moment, "Yes, I'm ready," first touched the airwaves. Her voice didn't shock you. It slipped under your skin. It was gentle, aching, intimate, like every lyric was a fingertip running across your soul. Barbara didn't look like a pin-up fantasy. It was the opposite. Her softness, her wet, half-dreaming eyes, the way she sang as if she were stretched beside a lover in the dark, that was what sent people spiraling into ecstasy. One musician recalled the night she recorded, "I am your woman, he is your wife." Barbara asked for the lights to be turned off, for candles to be lit, for perfume to fill the room. She wasn't performing, he said. She was hurting. She was wanting. In the late 70s, Barbara fell into a secret affair with a celebrated church organist, a married man with children. Their romance lived only in shadows, in cheap motel rooms on the edge of town after her shows. A motel maid once swore she heard Barbara moaning from down the hall, not because it was loud, but because it was honest. Too honest to ignore. Barbara never ran from her sensuality. "I don't sing like a singer," she once said. "I sing like a lover being loved." Some radio stations banned her songs for being too erotic. But fans bought even more, because Barbara gave them something deeper than lust, truth. She dared to say what women were never allowed to say out loud. That women want, women ache, women deserve to be satisfied too. A producer once asked her, "Aren't you afraid people will misunderstand you?" Barbara smiled and dropped a line the world never forgot. "I'd rather they think I'm moaning than think I'm silent." Barbara Mason didn't just make music. She let us hear her heartbeat, her breath, her unfinished nights. She didn't just write love songs. She rewrote the way a woman is allowed to be loved. Marlena Shaw, the lady of unspoken desires. Marlena never had to announce who she was. Her elegance did it for her. Hair pinned back with quiet confidence, a soft smile that never revealed too much, and eyes that held entire stories she refused to say aloud. But anyone who ever shared a barstool with her after a show knew the truth. Marlena carried a quiet fire. She didn't need to flash skin or whisper an invitation. One look from her could make a grown man feel like she was peeling away his defenses with nothing but her presence. She never confirmed a single romance publicly. Yet the soul and jazz circles whispered the same story for decades. Marlena was the hidden muse of many musicians, especially those serious, brilliant, and beautifully wounded. She was the kind of woman nobody dared flirt with, one bandmate remembered. But everyone thought about her the moment she opened her mouth to sing. One night at the Blue Note, right after she tore the room apart with "Feel Like Making Love," Marlena walked straight off stage to a young drummer. "You're hitting those drums like you're begging someone to hold you," she said. They left together moments later. No one knows where they went. All they knew was that her next performance glowed with a softness, a shine, a kind of midnight glamour that made every listener hold their breath. A tour staff member from 1992 recalled another ritual. Marlena would sit alone in her dressing room after every show. No makeup, no voices, no visitors. But when she emerged, her lips were painted, her eyes distant, like a woman who had dreamed an entire love story in the time it takes for rain to hit a window. People often mistook her for cold. She once said, "It's not that I don't love. I just don't need to prove to anyone how I love." But after her passing, a diary entry revealed the truth. "I once loved someone so deeply that if they brushed the back of my hand, I could sing a whole song without any music at all." Marlena Shaw was never a woman of scandals. She didn't flaunt her sensuality. She let it seep through every lyric, every breath, every quiet sigh between notes. Her music reminded people of the lovers they couldn't keep, the nights they didn't dare to be honest, the feelings they were too afraid to admit. For some, intimacy was a secret. But in her songs, she gave them permission to feel again, to remember the tears they swallowed, the loneliness they endured, the scream buried deep in the chest where no one could hear it. So as you listen to these stories, don't just listen with your ears. Listen with your heart, with the memories of the loves you once held close. We know this topic is tender, even uncomfortable for some, and that's why your presence today means so much. If you believe every person deserves to love in their own way, please tap like, leave a comment, and share this message so more people can hear it. Thank you for listening until the end. And if this story moved you, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the legends and forgotten icons we honor here. More unforgettable stories are waiting for you, somewhere above my head right now. Thank you for watching. Until next time.